week only, every $1 is going to get you 5 times the entries towards winning this truck plus $5,000 cash. If you haven't done so yet, hit the link, go to lmpgear.com, buy anything on the store, and you're automatically entered as soon as you check out. What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video here. Gonna get here in the shadows so the lighting is a little bit better. So the winner is showing up today to pick up the dually. He couldn't the last 2 weekends because we had a lot of traveling going on the weekends, and that's when he's off work. So it didn't line up the best, but today is the day. He's gonna be here in a little bit here. He's picking up his truck, driving it all the way back to Eudora, Kansas, which is pretty freaking far drive. I'm not gonna lie, it's 9.5 to 10 hours, not stopping. It's a pretty far drive. He had the option between, you know, having it shipped, flying out and driving it back, getting a one-way rental car, dropping it off right here down the road from us and driving it back. And he said, no, we're just gonna have a buddy follow me out, you know, drive out there, and then, you know, he'll follow me back, and we're just gonna do it that way, which is totally up to him. That's totally fine, works with me. So they're gonna be here soon. I'm excited to see his reaction. You always hope that it's gonna be a great reaction, and you think, like, in theory, you know, you think, well, it's a free pickup truck, you know, like you bought a shirt or a hat or whatever you bought to win this thing, you know, so you're thinking everybody's gonna be ecstatic, but you'd be surprised. We've had a couple of people over the years that are like, oh, well, almost like there's some kind of buyer's remorse, you know, like it wasn't quite the model they want. Well, I was wishing it was a 4-door. You know, now that I'm looking at it in person, I don't know if the extended cab's really gonna do it. And I'm thinking, you didn't buy it. Like, you want it, you know what I mean? Like, that's a very, very rare thing. It's a very rare thing that happens, but you'd be surprised. It's happened before. You know, 26 vehicles we've given away. You know, as you can imagine, you're gonna have 1 or 2 winners that just seem to kind of not really be sure of what they're saying, and then you're like, okay. All that being said, super excited. He's gonna be here soon, and I hope he loves the truck. Guys, keep in mind though, you know, these are 20-some-year-old pickup trucks. This pickup truck is 23 years old, I think. So, I mean, it's an old truck. You know, these trucks are old. So, you know, they're old trucks. They're sweet. They're old tractors, street tractors, man. I love them. I don't know who wouldn't, but, you know, we'll see. He says it's the truck he's always wanted, so we'll get his reaction here. Hopefully it's a good one. So we got Billy, the winner of the second gen. We've got Chandler here from Kansas. So how excited are you right now? Do you believe it yet or no?
I believe it. I'm very excited.
Okay, so we're gonna get the truck pulled out around the corner here and get his reaction.
Yes.
You excited? Yes. Sure, she wants to see what she'll be riding. You want to see? Right there. You're excited. Any updates on what's going on? What's going through your head? What do you think about it?
I'm so excited, actually. I can't believe it. I mean, it is so beautiful.
What do you think about the color of it?
I love it, actually. You don't see many Dodges that color.
No, not except for the newer ones, maybe, but not.
Even the new ones, it's hard to find one that.
Sit in your seat. Is this your first diesel? You already have a diesel?
This will be the first one.
First one?
Yeah.
Have you always wanted a Cummins, or has it just kind of been like, any diesel?
It's been a float between a Dodge and a Ford, but I'll take either one.
A Ford like that?
Yeah. But I will take this because of the back doors. And
Yeah. I was looking for about a month for a 4-door Ford and I couldn't find one.
You guys are building, or?
Yeah, it's in the progress, slowly. Now the shift pattern on this, I don't entirely remember what he said about it, other than he's like, yeah, it's a real tight shift pattern on this truck, because I remember driving it for the first time. I was like, this feels like the gears are a lot tighter together than he was saying it was something they did to the transmission. That's what I meant by the shift pattern's tight. It's not over as far as like a stock NB 4500. You feel like you got like an inch in between. Once you get used to it, you're good. It likes high RPMs in between shifts. Like 2500 is like its sweet spot, so you don't lose any kind of boost pressure in between. Once it hits a sweet spot, it'll just throw you back in the seat. It's right about there. You feel that spot I was talking about? And one thing I will notice as well with the Concon kit, like in 4th gear, it likes to stay between like 40 and 55 mile an hour.
Yeah.
And I usually won't shift it into 5th until I'm at close to 60, because then it's got enough RPM and enough speed that when you shift in it, you don't lose your boost pressure, and then you like got to drop back down into 4th to build it again, and you know what I mean? And you can turn here if you want to. You're getting used to it already.
I'm not getting rid of it. It's not happening.
Enjoy the truck.
Going to.
That's
Nice meeting you, Chandler.
Yeah.
You guys have a safe trip. Final words on the truck. What do you think about it? Your first drive. They heard those turbos spooling.
Sounded wonderful.
Did it feel good when, when that
did.
big turbo lit?
Yes.
I saw the smile. I was like, I think he likes it. I don't know. I mean, I have this
like
feeling.
It. I love it.
Yeah, well, you have a safe trip, and thanks again for entering the giveaways and doing your thing. And we couldn't do this thing for people like you without people like you entering them. So it makes a huge difference, more than people know. So we appreciate it, and you have a safe trip. Enjoy the truck, man.
I'm going to.
Well, there they go. Billy, enjoy the truck. You deserve it, man. I gotta ask, what's with the office chairs?
Oh yeah, those are just any office chair either.
What are they?
Those are special rehab chairs. And apparently Matthias decided to clean out one of my office space rooms of storage, and I just realized that this is where they ended up.
Oh, so they weren't supposed to.
No.
So they were actually nice chairs. There was nothing wrong with them?
Well, you sit on for rehab, and then they're called wobble chairs. So you
Oh, okay, okay.
So I mean, you can't really salvage them at this point. For like the last month and a half.
And they're on fire right now. So we're gonna do a Q&A for the rest of the video. I've got my father, Joel Feeman, on Instagram here. Got the son, Marshall. Yeah, him too. Find some for you. And I'm gonna answer a few as well. For Joel, if you were 16 again, what would be your first truck?
If I was 16 again, it would depend on my budget and if I was working, which I did work. But when I was 16, I was working on the farm like 14, 15 hours a day for like $3 an hour or something crazy.
Yeah.
You know what? First truck, honestly, I like probably the 12 valves for that, just because easy to get into in terms of the price point, and then they're easy to repair or mod if you chose to do that. So if I was 16 again, I would probably say, and actually when I was 16, that's when like the 92s, 95s, those were coming out. They were like...
Yeah, those trucks were all new when you were in high school.
Those were new when I was in high school, yeah. So that's probably what I would go with, 12 valve.
If you're going diesel, same answer for me. If you were on a little bit more of a budget, but you still wanted something that was super reliable, four-wheel drive, all that good stuff, parts are readily available. The Chevy 1500, 2500, 3500s, I'd probably stick towards the 1500s for fuel savings. But the Chevy 1500s, like the late 80s to late 90s models, the 350s, the fuel injected ones, super reliable. Parts are
quite a bit of pep too.
Yeah, and parts are everywhere because every 1500, 2500, 3500, Tahoe, Suburban, they all offer those engines and parts, so their parts are interchangeable. There's tons of them. Next question: what is the fuel mileage you get on your King Ranch on average?
With the setup that I have, I usually run it with it tuned. I have basically 5 different options as far as tuned, one from towing mode up to high performance. I keep it on setting 3. On a highway trip with my setup, I usually get around 16.5, 17.
Okay. Next question: what was your first truck?
Good question. First truck was an 89 S10. It was my grandfather's with extended cab. It was a nice, clean truck. I was in college at the time, and he was the one to sell it, and it was a perfect fit for me. My second truck, since you asked that as well, was a 1972 Chevy. It had a 327 out of a Corvette, 411 gears. It was a pretty sweet truck, had some body damage, but I was able to pick it up. It was a Southern truck, and I got it for like $1,500, and it was fast, it was cool.
Huge fat tires.
Big fat tires on the back end, more standard on the front, but it was just a really, really cool truck.
He says, I'm a Ford guy too, but what made you want to go with Ford?
You know, it's what I knew. Growing up, although my first truck was, my first 2 trucks were Chevys, my grandfather worked at GM, but the farm I grew up on, that's what we had were Ford trucks. So first truck I ever drove was a 1978 Ford pickup truck, 150, and loved it. And then after that, probably the second truck I drove was a Ford, like probably an 89 250, and then a 93 250 as well. So it's just what I knew was Ford trucks. And that's honestly, like, as far as like the diesel trucks, I don't drive a ton, but between my diesels, like this one here has, I bought it new, and I've got 113,000 miles on it now, all mine. And then Whitey, before that, was destroyed. I bought it, and I probably put 150 to 200,000 miles on that. So as far as like road miles, you know, I have way more miles on my Fords than I ever have on any other truck.
He's probably got 250,000 miles wrapped up in driving Fords, the diesels. Dodges, probably a total of 6,000 miles between the two 12 valves. But yeah, definitely. I remember like growing up, always getting in Whitey, going on hunting trips, traveling all over the place. Like we just took that truck everywhere. Let's see, this is another one. For Joel Feeman, do you ever wish your King Ranch was a long bed instead of a short bed?
No. I'm super happy with this setup. I really like it. I don't know that I would have a need for a long bed because I don't really trailer too far typically, and this has always done me good.
Question for Loud and Proud Diesel Trucks and at Joel Feeman. What are your thoughts on the new half-ton diesels coming out?
I don't know that I formed a thought on them yet, though. You might have to be better at that because I just haven't looked into them.
I haven't looked into them much either, but like I know that GM's going to be offering half-ton diesels. They might, I don't know if it's already an option or not, but I know they were. Ram has the Eco Diesel. Ford has, I believe, the 3.0 Power Stroke. It's a balance for those guys who like the ride quality of the 1500s, but they want the fuel economy of the diesel and a little bit more of the torque. But for the most part, I don't know for sure if the actual horsepower output and the torque is that much different in the half tons from the diesel versus the gas, like a V8 gas option, or even the twin turbo 6 cylinders like in the F-150s, because I know that those are these things that put out a lot of power and a lot of torque for the trucks that they are too. Like even my uncle, he's looking at these F-150s and they're 60 to 70 grand for a half ton. For me, my thoughts are, I'll buy this truck 1 year used. You know what I mean? Like with 20,000 miles on it before I would do that. The truck has been more refined. There's a lot more things that they've worked out of them. They just understand the platforms a lot better in terms of these trucks with the diesel in them. Transmissions, engines, tuning, all that stuff is all more readily available. That's my thoughts on them. Like if it were me and I'm spending that kind of money on a new one, I'd end up buying one of these.
For now.
Yeah. Should I put tow mirrors on my 1997 Silverado 1500?
Do you tow?
Or do you just want to look like you tow? Or here's a good scenario. Tow mirrors, or you're one of those guys that has a standard mirror, and then they clip on those big extendo mirrors on the side of it that stick way out and look really dumb.
In that case, I'd put tow mirrors on.
Yeah, I'd put tow mirrors on too. Would you ever upgrade and buy an L5P Duramax? I like how he said upgrade and swap it out with a Duramax. I know the muscle out of the Diesel brothers, I know he has an opinion on the Duramaxes and the independent front suspension. He hates it. He's like, if you're gonna tow a lot or work your truck at all, not the truck. If you just want to look like you work hard, but just really just want a soft ride to go to the office, they're great trucks.
That's if you remember. You remember when we met him in Diesel?
Oh yeah.
That's one thing we asked him, and he's just like, stick with Ford. Which I think if you look at his truck collection, that's what he.
Yeah, he's got a freaking
with.
sweet.
You know what? There are
F450.
some really cool looking Duramaxes, and I have some patients and friends who have them, and they absolutely love them. So, I've personally never had one. And so I don't cast judgment saying that they're good or bad. You know, if it was a cool one. I almost bought one time, that Black Widow.
Oh yeah,
that? It was really cool.
What's something that y'all have been wanting to buy but haven't yet? Whether it be a build, a trip, a building project, whatever it might be.
You know what? I don't need one, but I've always kind of wanted a fat dually.
Yeah, you've talked about that.
I've been wanting a dually for a long time. They just look cool. They kind of catch my eye. Maybe at some point I'll do like a dually. Like I said, I don't need it now, and I don't necessarily have a reason to buy one, but that would be cool. The other thing I'd like to do at some point, maybe, is I always like the Ram Chargers, the old.
Oh yeah.
And to have a 12 valve in one of those just for like a fun weekend, small trip kind of a thing. I think that'd be cool for a daily driver.
What are the worst and best parts about owning a diesel? For me, the worst part's probably going to be cost of maintenance and fixes, relatively speaking, to a gas platform. Every vehicle is going to have its ups and downs and its costs associated with maintenance and owning them. But when you start breaking stuff on a diesel, for example, your turbo, before labor, 45 or 46, 700 for your turbo in your truck.
I don't recall. It was up there.
And it was for a stock 2017 turbo to go in this truck. Supposedly a big upgrade for this, but I mean, a turbo. There's a lot of vehicles you can buy for $4,700. You know what I mean? Like a lot of old Chevy pickup trucks or old Dodge trucks you can buy for $4,700. That all too depends on the truck, because like a 12 valve, a full set of injectors is $250. This truck, a full set of injectors, a few $1,000. So it's all different. Like a turbo on a 12 valve's $200. It's thousands on this truck, So it depends on the truck, because ups and downs to this diesel would be a lot different than the ups and downs to somebody driving a first or second gen 12 valve, where the maintenance is much different.
Yeah, I remember Whitey one time. I had to put. You remember when it lost all power?
Yeah.
I had to get some new injectors, and it was like $3,000 for like half the injectors. So.
Yeah. That's what happens when you get into computerized fueling and stuff, and yeah, they have their ups, but they also have their downs. Can't cover that up.
One of these days soon, by the way, if you haven't seen his post, I'm going to be taking the plow off of Nasty Red.
Oh, somebody asked, can I buy Nasty Red?
You make me an offer. Legit.
You serious? He will sell it. It mostly just sits there in the barn now.
Yeah,
I mean, this mostly sits now.
Mostly.
So he's like, I don't need the 12 valve then. So somebody asked me, how do the tags or permits work for the hunting giveaway if you're from a different state? So of course our OBS 7.3 giveaway is live right now. You guys can enter to win that at lmpgear.com, link in the description. And that giveaway does end in 13 days. So if you want to get in on that truck, it is ending very soon. You guys are running out of time to get in. Just place an order and you're automatically entered. But we also just launched, this is our first day of our lnpoutdoors.com hunt giveaway. And we're actually giving away a deer hunt to one of you guys. And essentially the whole thing is included. Everything from the permits, the tag, the travel expenses for you to get out here, 3 days of food budget we're going to be covering that as well. Your stay, in other words, like if you get an Airbnb or hotel locally, we'll get that booked for you and cover the expenses of that. You're also going to get to win a 2021 Killer Instinct Burner 415 crossbow. That is also part of what you win when you win the hunt. It's going to be a 3-day hunt in Ohio. on our personal property, which is full of deer. It's going to be a lot of fun. If you want to get in on that link, I'll leave a link in the description for that as well. All that stuff's included, and we will take care of that for you guys. Anyways, guys, that is going to be the last question for this Q&A. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, smash that thumbs up, comment down below, subscribe if you're new. I'll catch you guys in the next video.